This has a number of items associated with it. The first is that we're going to get the downtown core done first. And the reason is pretty simple. Pretty much everything that's out there right now has identified that as the area with the highest density, the nitrate loading, essentially the most pressing area that we need to address. There's also some other benefits as well. The topographical nature of the downtown core, it makes it really rather easy, if you will, to put a facility in place. It's centrally located. We're going to make sure that what we put in is expandable, because as we go through the groundwater monitoring, and that was the third part of this program, the groundwater monitoring will allow us to see where do we need to expand to next in the town, in the district. All right, the next part of the collection and treatment is the actual facility itself. This is a low odor membrane bioreactor. It's packaged plant that will be expandable. So again, as we do the groundwater monitoring, we determine where we need to go next. We'll be able to bolt on to the packaged plant itself. Wastewater will be treated to Title 22. Doesn't mean it's going to be drinking water coming out of your faucet, but it will help in terms of the recharge of the groundwater, which is again another really important component of the groundwater monitoring program, is to try to improve over time the overall quality of the groundwater. And lastly, we plan to make sure that the packaged plant doesn't look like some horrible industrial thing out there in the town. We'll make sure it fits in architecturally and with the town look and feel. Okay, and next is the actual collection system itself. So what we see here is the backbone, if you will, of the collection system will consist of the gravity pipes, lift stations, etc. And we're going to run it down, strategically place it under community streets and alleys to allow for the closest possible connection to the parcels in the high density use areas of the downtown core and the adjacent properties that may opt to connect. The district participation in the we will also allow, like I said, adjacent properties to connect in if they like. The lateral connections will be privately owned by the property owner. So in other words, we're going to run the pipe, connectors will be there, and then if you want to connect in, that's going to be your cost. Just want to point out that on the financing component, this is where this becomes really important for the district, that we can potentially provide help by securing the funds from state and local county agencies to help with those costs, so that residents aren't left trying to do all of that on their own. And there are a number of really good programs out there that we definitely we fit the criteria for. So again, I personally feel really confident we can get some decent funding to help with this particular item here, this private lateral connection. And again, expansion based on that groundwater monitoring. That's why it's such an important component of this overall program. All right, so the operation and maintenance, obviously this has to be done by somebody who is licensed and meets the requirements of all the different regulatory agencies. So we will have somebody do that. We're not going to be doing that ourselves. And then in addition to this, the parcels, the cost would be shared equitably by the parcels that are connected. And we'll be looking at various different models and formulas to figure out what that is. Parcels that are not connected will still be subject to the LAMP. Remember, the local LAMP is going to define what the on-site wastewater treatment guidelines look like for residents. So again, if you have an issue with your septic and it can be repaired, that LAMP is going to help you make that happen, rather than the county coming and saying, oh, you got to rip it all out and put in your own advanced wastewater treatment system. But those parcels not connected will still be participating and sharing the costs of the maintenance, the administration of the district. All right, the facility siting. So where are we going to put this thing? So there's a number of factors that we were looking at in terms of the siting, and certainly cost is one. What is it going to cost for us to get that land? We're going to try to, of course, see if we can't get the county to give us something. But we'll also be looking at a number of other things, such as the availability, the effluent discharge location, and also the state and federal local requirements. Some of the types of parcels that we're looking at could be county right of way, institutional parcels such as the school here or church, and commercial parcels as well as private land. So got a number of options, and these guys have been looking at maps hard and heavy to try to figure out what we want. Obviously, ideally, like to be south of 154, and of course within the district. All right. The next is the actual construction and timing phases. So the construction time itself is actually going to depend on a number of factors, including funding. That's a big one. How fast can we get the money in place, as well as the environmental process and construction duration. We do anticipate we'll need a lot of cooperation from residents who may want to connect to who are in the adjacent area of the C2 core, and that may want to connect. And once we've got all of that done, we'll actually have the package plant, have it up and running, go through all the testing, the monitoring, the tweaking to make sure it's all running properly and correctly, and then the ongoing system maintenance and operation will take place. October 14 board meeting, we will be approving the project description. Once we've done that, that sets in motion a whole number of factors here. Particularly, we can start to pursue the grant and other funding to get a lot of the environmental studies done and some of that other initial work. We can begin to look at what are our siting options and the cost to procure. We'll be able to refine our budget, so we'll have a much clearer idea of where we are financially, and then it sets us up to start the Prop 218 process. And again, for those of you not familiar, that's a process that sets the permanent assessment for the waste